This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Pallet, and I'm reading ghost stories. Spooks. Today, at this moment in non-time, we're going to be taking a look at The Period Demon by Morty /Mord33. I think demons are cool, and I have a proclivity for periods. Let's, get right into this. Late last April, nature aligned perfectly for me to fulfill some obligations. The night was cloudless, with a full moon giving off just enough light to stumble around without getting lost. No one dares step far into the woods on a school night, so no one suspects a single figure crouched over a battery-powered lantern and a crudely made circle of twigs and crystals. Not sure what we're doing with the language of, no one dare step far into the woods on a school night. That's very school-age-centric, or a school-age-centric thought process, and we have to ask why that would be the case. So hopefully we'll get an answer that is sufficient, that isn't just, this is written by someone who is school-aged. No one else in the coven could make it for the last-minute offering, so I fumbled in the low light with a pocket knife, cutting my palm with what little precision I had. The blood dripped into a bowl in the middle of the circle of sticks, already filled with a mixture of salt, lavender, and other plant pieces from my garden. The air there, where I was hiding, felt uncharacteristically humid and warm for mid-spring compared to the normal mountain chill near my car. I had attracted something. What it was, no one can say for sure. So narratively, I really don't have a whole lot of information as to what is going on here, but what we are getting are two things that I'm a huge fan of. We're getting very visual language. All of this is very easy to picture. All of the actions, placing yourself in that setting. It's not difficult. It's the kind of situation where your mind can fill in the blanks. The other thing is, it's all very plain, straightforward language. Easy to digest. I have digestion problems when it comes to reading. This is very easy to digest. It's an easy read. Pressing on, slowly, I whispered ancient thanks and praise to the spirits swirling around me, squinting at the tome every few lines to make sure I was getting the words right. When the passage was finished, I asked the energies to grant protection for the coming months. They answered, sending wind through the valley, carrying dandelion seeds and good omens. No other obvious signs followed immediately, only the mysterious noises of the forest at night. Even with the serenity of the moment, I knew it couldn't last, so I turned to a different page. So what we're getting from all of this is that our narrator is, I'm assuming, alone in the woods, and is taking part in some sort of Wiccan or witch ritual. What the purpose of it is not exactly sure, but they're asking for good fortune in the coming months. That's all we know for now. As I read the proper goodbye, a strange feeling constricted my throat. What once felt like a mild summer evening boiled into Death Valley at noon, burning through me like hay fever. Again, this is all very plain, descriptive language that's, it works for me. In under a minute, the humidity made my hair stand on end, and my voice grew scratchy and quiet from the force around my neck. It took longer than usual to finish the incantation because whatever was trying to force its way in, by the end of it, I was shaking, sweating, slicked mess. So there is some sort of entity or spirit or energy, they're kind of playing with language here, not giving you a concrete answer, because it's the unknown, man. It's just the forces, the cheese, and they're flowing. Whatever it is forcing their way inside of our narrator. I closed the tome and looked around. Nothing had visibly changed, but the temperature had dropped back to its normal spring chill. Anxiety settled firmly in my gut regardless. I bandaged the ritual cut, cleaned up the offering, and left before anything else could follow. So this right here is just kind of what I would call a maintenance paragraph. This paragraph is just there to transition us to the next subject, the next point in time that needed to happen. So, like, we couldn't leave this area abruptly. So this is just a little denouement to ease us out of this scene. For the next month, I hesitantly enjoyed the prosperity that came from the offering. Work went exceedingly well. My relationships remained strong, and I came upon little instances of good luck, like $1 on the ground, more often. No one questioned the healing wound on my hand. No one had to, because everyone I interacted with on a daily basis was either in my coven or hip to my lifestyle. Despite my newly earned good fortune, the lingering fear of that night haunted me. Whatever tried to prevent me from ending the ritual hadn't reared its ugly head yet. Reared. Oh my god. Oh shit. I'm gonna leave that in there. That way people know how stupid I am. Reared. So nothing is really wrong with this paragraph, but I think more information could be put into it. Perhaps split into 2 paragraphs and given more details. So everyone in your life is either in your coven or hip to the lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? Like, I get that it's a Wiccan witch lifestyle, but if that's the case, I would like some details. I would like to know just a little bit about what your job is and why it is that people are accepting of this, because that's like weird and off-kilter to a lot of people. So you would need, I would like to have more details on that. Along with that, more instances of good luck, like finding $1 on the ground. I believe in the rule of 3s, if you want me to remember. That's one example, like I found $1 on the ground. Great. What other luck happened? Tell me some more hits that this is actually working. But we are attributing to whatever that force was, that there was some sort of external force trying to prevent you from ending this ritual in this story. So our narrator is praying to one set of deities and perhaps invited another one is I guess the general premise. That changed. Okay, hadn't reared its ugly head yet. That changed near the end of the month. My period was a day or so past due. It had always been irregular, so I paid it no mind. With pads and pain meds on the bedside table, I went to sleep, assured that the red menace wouldn't show up until at least tomorrow, but I was immediately proven wrong. I was just Gush City. Late that night, I awoke to sharp pain in my abdomen. These were no ordinary cramps. It felt like something with sharp claws gripping my uterus in one hand, threatening to slice it into rings at any moment. At any second, rather. I fumbled for my phone, fearful that my sheets were soaked with blood by now if the pain was that bad. But when I turned on the flashlight, I was greeted with nothing. No blood, not even the usual slick sensation, just pain. Wind blew outside my window, but it faintly sounded like someone laughing. Ha ha. It's just Nelson outside the window. You're getting phantom periods, ha ha. I took 4 orange pills, but that didn't help. In fact, nothing helped. From the waist down, it felt like I had gotten run over by a truck. For 5 straight days, I struggled through normal functions during the day, and nightmares when I finally got too exhausted to keep standing. Shadowy figures trapped me in chains, drowned me in my own blood and sweat, electrocuted me. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have never experienced what it's like to have a period. But I can understand this is actually a relatable thing because I think people have experienced being in some form of pain or another, being sick, being restless, through being sick or being in pain, feeling like you have impaired functions. And then when you go to dream, you get like really fucked up nightmares because you're in pain or you're sick or you're sweating through your clothes and you just feel gross and it's just awful and everything's terrible. And so it just makes your dreams that much worse. I'm not sure what they mean by 4 orange pills. I'm guessing they mean just, cause that's not what any menstrual medication looks like that I know of. And I'm well versed in menstrual medication, as everyone knows. I'm an expert. I'm guessing the 4 orange pills are just ibuprofen, something like that. But anyway, just when I thought the pain couldn't get any worse, everything suddenly stopped. My luck returned, as did my anxiety. So the anxiety has returned because the luck has returned. Interesting. As predictable as a menstrual cycle, the pain returned every month with a vengeance. 3 a.m. wake-up calls, unmanageable agony, terrible and symbolic nightmares, but no blood. The clawed hand shredded my insides, robbed me of my mobility and sanity, and then left without a word after 5 days. Something was actively following me, but for a year I was too afraid to figure out what it could be. So not only have their menstrual pains exceeded all previous menstrual pains and are so severe that mobility has been robbed of them. Not only that, for some reason, their actual period has disappeared, replaced instead with their ghost period, with ghost blood. So they're not even having a normal cycle, which I think is bizarre. After spending a few months working up the nerve, I discussed it with my coven leader. Do you ever get that not so fresh spiritual feeling? I said. I discussed it with my coven leader. I spilled everything over tears and tea in her den, admitting that a strange presence was wreaking havoc on my body. She listened, watching me with respect and concern. It's like the thing from Rick and Morty with the planet of women, just like placing their hand on your shoulder. I'm here if you need to talk. I do think it's weird that it would take someone that long to look into these things, but I suppose that some people are just like that. They're naive and they're like, it's not a problem. Like, there's this story of a man and a woman who were trying to have a child, and they had only ever had sex with each other because that's how things were back in the day, and now for some people, and so they couldn't have a child and they didn't know what was going wrong until they eventually found out that the guy had been fucking her pee hole every time, and that's why she wasn't getting pregnant. And apparently, that's somehow possible. So either he had a really thin dick or she had a really wide pee hole, and by the end, maybe it was a bit of both. A malicious spirit came as part of your deal, she said. Her tone hid no anger, but I could sense her disappointment in the rookie mistake. You offered blood, and it continues to take it now. So that is what's happening, apparently. This is like a ghost that just eats up all of your period blood. Interesting. But as we discussed it further, it made no sense for it to be taking just blood. The offering was a one-time deal, and it worked based on the calm spirit who continued to help my luck, and there were no other signs that I was actually having a period. No uterus lining, no discharge, no nothing. Periods are never just blood, and the coven leader and I puzzled over its complete disappearance. The question here, I guess, is, are they trying to put a lampshade on what is what is happening, why the blood is being taken along with everything else. I don't know. Let's see. What could it possibly want? My virginity or a virgin's blood? Well, too late, so that idea was scrapped. My fertility? Not possible due to birth control and other hormonal factors. My firstborn child? Also not possible because I plan to never have any physically. Perhaps it wanted a mixture of all of them, and when none of them happened, it punished me. Very Adam and Eve feel here of women being forever punished and blah blah blah. It's very primal, I guess. Very primal, the idea of like you're being punished for your womanhood. I guess it wouldn't be for your womanhood in this case. It's because you made this deal. But it's evocative of those ideas. I guess it puts me in that kind of headspace. Whatever it is, still wreaks havoc on me every month. I don't know how much longer I can stay strong enough to survive it. I wonder whether an exorcism or hysterectomy would work better to end the torment. I love the ending of that because it's acknowledging two different possible outcomes. Maybe there's just some sort of rational explanation and a hysterectomy would help, or maybe it's supernatural and you need an exorcism, or maybe it's supernatural and a hysterectomy would also solve the problem, because for whatever reason, we're still having this issue of ghost periods, as it were, despite the fact that there is no logical reason for that to continue. Does this period demon know that you don't plan on having a child? Does that matter to it? Does it understand fertility and hormonal factors? Maybe it just wants to eat everything that comes along with the blood, including the uterus lining and discharge and all of that stuff. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I think that this is a cute little story. I had fun with it. And I think that there is a sense of comedy to it. There is a sense of theming to it with the Wiccan stuff. I like that. I think it should be explored more. I would have liked to get a little bit more Wiccanity out of it, if that was at all possible. But it's certainly a novel idea. Now, if you enjoyed that, consider helping out the community and supporting my channel. You can support the community by conversing in the comments below, going to toospooky.com, that's TOOspooky.com for more original horror stories, and looking into The Hyper Realist here on YouTube, a podcast where writer Slimebeast, musician Abysme, and myself discuss what is killing creepypasta today. Thank you so much for your time, and now on to our sponsor at this non-moment in time. FN57. FN57, the premier handgun for little girl assassins.